Hey everyone, today I'm gonna recommend you guys 10 anime where the main character is lazy as hell, but also overpowered and badass. But before we start, be sure to subscribe and turn on notification to stay notified about our latest videos. In 10th place comes in King of Nabari, silent, apathetic yet mischievous. 14-year-old Rokuja Miharu is the bearer of the Hijitsu, Shinrabanshu, a powerful technique many ninja clans desire to possess to become the ruler of Nabari. Fellow classmate Kuchi and his English teacher Komahira are both secretly Banten clan ninjas, pledging themselves to protect Miharu from his many attackers. Keeping apathetic, Miharu attempts to reject their invitation to join their ninja club. However, after numerous attacks, he finds no choice but to join their group as a means for his survival. Slowly, Miharu takes a step closer to becoming the ruler of Nabari. In 9th place is Hitsugi no Chika. At first glance, the plot of Hitsugi no Chika may seem dull or cliché, but Chika ultimately stands to deliver a fresh, new kind of plotline that is rather unprecedented in my opinion. It's not often you find adventure shows with 3 characters traversing the earth and having badass fights every episode. Personally, the story saves Chika from mediocrity and adds a lot of originality to it. I found this anime to be quite enjoyable, and those who love action-adventure anime, you should definitely watch it. In 8th place is Blood Lad. Stas Charlie Blood is a powerful vampire who rules the eastern district of Demon World. According to rumors, he is a bloodthirsty and merciless monster, but in reality, Stas is just an otaku obsessed with Japanese culture and completely uninterested in human blood. Leaving the management of his territory to his underlings, Stas spends his days lazing around, indulging in anime, manga, and games. I think most people watched this anime, but if you haven't yet, consider watching it. I believe you will enjoy it. In 7th place is Servamp. Mahira Shirota firmly believes that simple is best and troublesome things should be avoided at all costs. It is troublesome to do nothing and regret it later, and this ideology has led the 15-year-old to pick up a stray cat on his way home from school. As he affectionately names the feline Kuro, little does he know that this chance meeting will spark an extraordinary change in his everyday life. One day, Mahira returns home to find something quite strange, a mysterious young man he has never seen before. His subsequent panic results in the uninvited guest being exposed to sunlight and, much to Mahira's shock, transforming into Kuro. Upon revealing himself as a mere lazy shut-in vampire, Kuro promises to leave once night falls. However, one disaster after another leads to Mahira accidentally forming a contract with his new freeloader, dragging him into a life-threatening battle of supernatural servants and bloodthirsty beings that is anything but simple. In 6th place is Horizon in the Middle of Nowhere. Horizon in the Middle of Nowhere is a very difficult anime to describe. It synthesizes humor, action, and romance together into a series where each element is an irreplaceable part of the dynamic and story. Because it combines many different elements together at once, it can easily bewilder the viewer and leave them in a position where they have little clue of where it is going. The story begins in a distant and somewhat bleak future. Humanity previously ascended into space, but was forced back to Earth after fighting and warring beyond their limit, only to find Earth itself in an equally devastated condition. With Japan the only hospitable and habitable area remaining on Earth, humanity is split into the harmonic divine states where each administrative district is ruled by an individual country. It's then that humanity uses the Testament, a book detailing the events of past human civilization, as a guide to regaining their former glory by the means of reenacting human history. Unfortunately for the Far East, originally Japan itself, conditions are less than ideal as they are forced out of the country by the other ruling nations. A sizable portion of the Japanese refugees flee to the flying city ship Musashi, which is where the story of the anime takes place. In fifth place is Dramatical Murder. Dramatical Murder is an anime adapted from a BL visual novel originally created by the company Nitro Plus. It has a very sci-fi and futuristic feeling to it. DMMD begins with Saragaki Aoba, a man of around 20 years old. The story is told from his perspective as he meets different people, both ones he already knew and strangers. He begins to discover something big going on in his city involving gangs, a digital game called Rime, and some of the people around him. Aoba, of course, is also strongly involved in this growing plot whether he knows it or not at first. The initial setup is basically your typical VN setup where you follow the protagonist as you meet the other important and not so important characters. In fourth place is Hyoka, set during the dull and gray life of Oriki's first year in high school. The story begins with an important change to his individual status quo, the joining of the school's classics club, albeit out of obligation rather than choice. Receiving a letter from his older sister asking him to join the club to keep it from being disbanded from lack of membership, he solemnly accepts his duties and sends in a club registration form, which appropriately causes surprise for his close friend Satoshi. For an individual uninterested by studying, sports, and socializing, joining a club can be an arduous and painful ordeal. And indeed, if not for a certain girl immediately joining the club, Oriki could very well have maintained his status quo of living dully and freely. This anime was really good and enjoyable in my opinion, and the only bad thing is it doesn't have a continuation. In third place is Alderman on the Sky. Ikta Salork is a carefree young man who only wants two things in life: a woman on his arm and a place to nap. Unfortunately, his peaceful life is destroyed when war breaks out between the Katjarna Empire and the neighboring Republic of Kyoka. Ikta and his childhood friend, Yadarashino Igsum, join the army as military officers, where they meet the infantryman Matthew Tedajiraki, the sniper Torway Remian, and the medic Hiroma Becker on a boat heading for the military exam site. However, after a rogue storm sinks their vessel, the five of them end up in enemy territory near a military outpost. There, they discover that the heir to the Katjarnan throne, Princess Chamil Kidora Katjan Maninik, has been taken hostage. The five are able to rescue her, and as a reward, each one of them is granted the title of Imperial Knight, one of the highest honors a soldier can receive. It seems that Ikta will have to put his dream of tranquility on hold, as he must now become the hero he never wanted to be. In second place is Blast of Tempest. In this anime the story was put together in a great yet questionable way. There were many parts of the anime that could be related to the famous works of Shakespeare. With plot twists that would leave you confused, the story was never boring. The twisted tale of love, hate, revenge, and a touch of magic was most definitely satisfying, especially how the ending wrapped up the entire story. I sincerely wish that they would make a sequel. As much as I'd like to tell you more about the story, I'd rather have you watch it, as I believe you will definitely enjoy it.
Here goes! Magical Punch! That was a kick. Well, yeah, that's the part that makes it magical.
In first place is Akashic Records, a bastard magic instructor. This is an anime that many people seem to love and hate at the same time. Honestly, I enjoyed it quite a lot, mostly because of the main character. He is really amusing at times and badass. The story follows Glenn Radar's life as he starts teaching at a magic school, and from there different events happen. Alright guys, that's it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed this list. Be sure to subscribe for more if you haven't already. Also, you can join our Discord server, and if you have free time, feel free to visit my merch store website, Facebook page and Twitter. See you soon.
We'll meet again.